The APRC has issued a stern warning to Sheikh Tijan Haidara-led GANU to refrain from using APRC paraphernalia in its campaign. The APRC has also sacked, with effect from Thursday, all its members with key responsibilities. The party convened a press conference at its Manjai bureau on Thursday, barely a week after former President Jammeh stunned many by relieving the Fabakary Tombong Jatta-headed executive. Binda Koli has the details in this report.
The press conference came off the back of the alliance between the APRC and the NPP, but addressing the conference, Fabakary Tombong Jatta said his executive is the bona fide one.
Or a local CAFO political party. Political parties have set criteria for formation according to the law, and you meet those requirements to be able to register political parties.
Jatta warned of legal consequences for GANU, its supporters and allies, if they fall short of desisting from using APRC emblems.
We want to urge and inform GANU leadership, and even to those who no longer see themselves as part of GANU, who were former APRC members, whoever they may be, to desist from using APRC color, APRC symbols at their political gatherings. APRC is open. It's a Gambian party. Those who have gone can come back. Those from other political parties can join the APRC. Equally, some members of the APRC may decide to go to other political parties. It should be a battle of ideas and not insults.
He insisted that the APRC-NPP alliance is in the best interest of the country, the APRC and former President Yahya Jammeh.
That the alliance with NPP, that as I, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, as a Muslim, want to make it abundantly clear that our former President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Abdul Aziz James Junkun Jammeh, was aware of this coalition move. I stand and I will swear to the Holy Quran at any level. Two, when it was happening, it was not only me, it was in the presence of Usman Rambo and Yankuba Koli. That's true. In my presence. Three, I have seen somebody here who is very close to him. I don't want to mention the name. He was even sent to me by him on this very issue. Yes, you can agree to something and later disagree. Yeah. But we must acknowledge the fact that it came to our notice. Two, I believe that all the sacrifices we have made and we continue to make is purposely for the Gambia, for our Green Party and its membership, and for him, our former leader, Yahya Jammeh.
Mr. Jatta said ex-President Jammeh was aware of the NPP-APRC alliance building since at the onset. The former majority leader of the National Assembly used the press conference to announce the expulsion of the Jammeh hand-picked executive and those members with positions of responsibility but have allied themselves to the No to Alliance movement. Mr. Jatta is of the belief that Jammeh was jolted into action because he was not well advised. He commended the APRC rank and file for the patience, discipline and understanding they have exercised all along one of the party's turbulent phases in its history. For Star TV News, I am Binta Koli.
The World Food Programme (WFP) has hailed the $1.5 million contribution that the government of Japan made to enhance nutrition response to 40,000 food insecure people in the Gambia. Dado Cham has more.
The latest food security analysis estimated that 600,000 people in the Gambia are food insecure, representing 30% of the population. The analysis showed that 114,000 men, women and children have been severely affected during the lean season period from June to August 2021. The ambassador of Japan to the Gambia, His Excellency Tatsuo Arya, hailed as commendable the partnership between the Gambia and World Food Programme in designing and executing the food security project. He described the project as important in that it relates to human security in this critical time of the COVID pandemic. Ambassador Arya was speaking on Thursday during the presentation of consumables to the WFP.
This is why Japan proposed two initiatives in that respect. One, Africa Health and Wellbeing Initiative, and two, Initiative for Food and Nutrition Security in Africa, at the occasion of the TICAD 7 meeting last year in Japan. Already, other speakers mentioned, Japan will host the Tokyo Nutrition for Growth Summit on December 7 to 8 this year, which provides a historic opportunity to transform the way the world tackles the global challenge of malnutrition.
WFP representative in the Gambia, Yasuore Sumora, acknowledged that the Japanese government's support came at a critical time when COVID pandemic dealt the hardest blow to household food security.
That this contribution, being recognized today, came at a very critical time. The COVID-19 pandemic, which started last year, has heavily affected socioeconomic activities in the Gambia, as well as global and local supply chains. Food prices have increased even compared with last year. The poverty has increased, and the food security situation is the worst compared to the past 5-year average. According to the latest Cadre Harmonisé food security analysis exercise, 600,000 people were estimated food insecure in the Gambia, 30% of the population. This year, the biggest windstorm in the Gambia's recent history hit all parts of the territory, damaging so many people's houses and livelihoods. In this situation, the worst hit is always women and children in vulnerable households. We are therefore grateful for this contribution to save lives of the malnourished women and children.
The WFP program officer, who doubles as the global body's nutrition officer, Dauda Samba, spoke about the project's objectives interventions.
Is the title of the support from the government of Japan. Nutrition support to vulnerable malnourished women and children in the context of COVID-19 in the Gambia. This is important because we know nutrition finds it very difficult to raise funds, but the government of Japan have showed their commitment and willingness to work with the World Food Programme. And indeed, you are aware that in December, the government of Japan will be hosting what we call the Nutrition for Growth Summit. There was a humanitarian summit as well. So government of Japan throughout the world have shown their interest in supporting food and nutrition security, especially in developing countries.
Areas and mode of operation. Meanwhile, the WFP will, through this contribution, provide fortified foods to malnourished children under 5, pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, and mothers living with HIV and AIDS to address moderate acute malnutrition. WFP will also support nutrition education and awareness raising with a view to increasing the knowledge and skills of caregivers, mothers, adolescent girls, households, and community leaders in breastfeeding practices. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Cham.
The Foreign Ministry and the International Organization of Migration on Thursday launched its diaspora website and portal in a ceremony held at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Center. Modu Gajigo attended the event and he prepared this report.
IOM Chief of Mission, Fomika Nagano, explained that it is part of the wider effort by the government of the Gambia with support from the International Organization for Migration to capture the development of potential migration. This initiative is supported by IOM, regional projects financed by the government of Italy, aimed at equipping national and local stakeholders with knowledge and understanding of the access between migration and development in order to promote sensitive migration policies, improve youth empowerment services, and facilitate diaspora engagement.
Wider effort by the government of the Gambia with support from the International Organization for Migration to capture the developmental potential of migration. This initiative is funded by IOM's three-country regional project entitled Supporting Local and Economic Development, or SLED for short, financed by the government of Italy, whose objective is to equip national and local stakeholders with knowledge and understanding of the nexus between migration and development in order to, first of all, promote sensitive migration policies, secondly, improve youth employment services and job opportunities in local communities affected by irregular migration, and thirdly, to facilitate diaspora engagement through skills and knowledge transfer programs. It is in this third outcome, to support the third outcome on facilitating diaspora engagement, that this website has been developed.
She further highlighted the significance of the website. According to her, the Gambian diaspora potential cannot be undermined as overseas remittances of estimated 118,000 Gambians living abroad represent close to 6% of the Gambian population. This, she said, is equivalent to 20% of the country's GDP. Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mamadou Tangara, also underscored the contribution of Gambians in the diaspora to national development. According to him, people living abroad who are Gambian nationality, origin of heritage constitutes the Gambian diaspora. This, he went on, is diverse and inclusive of short and long-term migrants and other descendants who identify themselves as Gambians with a strong sense of belonging to the country.
It is evident in the creation of the Diaspora and Migration Directorate. The Directorate will use the website and portal being launched today to continue to promote, support and facilitate purposeful engagement of Gambian diaspora in national development. Can I get my glasses, please? People living abroad who are of Gambian nationality, origin or heritage constitute the Gambian diaspora. The Gambian diaspora is diverse and inclusive, encompassing short and long-term migrants, second and third generations, and other descendants who identify themselves as Gambians. The strong sense of belonging to the Gambia is what motivates and propels the diaspora to contribute to the development of the country. The fact that the diaspora is resident outside of the country is an opportunity to be harnessed.
For Star TV News, I am Modu Gajugo.
The Ministry of Health on Thursday received medical supplies from the Child Fund Gambia and MAP International. The items included examination gloves, surgical gloves, face masks, wheelchairs, amoxicillin tab, and oral suspension. The materials were handed over to the ministry in an event held at the Central Medical Stores in Kotu. Awasane has more in this report.
Speaking at the presentation of the items, the country's director of Child Fund Gambia, Mfamara Dabo, said the medical supplies are expected to provide quality, affordable and accessible medical health care to the vulnerable children and their families in the country. He explained that Child Fund's partnership with the MAP International has enabled it to widen the scope of its mission to rendering of medical supplies as he spoke about his organization's operations.
We have 3 life stages. And life stage 1 focuses on 0 to 3, where 0 to 5, where we want to see that infants are secure and healthy. And life stage 2, 6 to 14 years, where we want to make sure that children are educated and confident. The life stage 3, that's the final life stage, focus on children who are between 15 and 24 years. And our goal there is to see that young people acquire the requisite skills and are involved in decisions that affect them. But we are also aware as an organization that for us to be able to achieve these core outcomes, we have to work with partners. For us to be able to achieve these core outcomes, we have to engage the different stakeholders so that we can tap in their ideas, their expertise to be able to enhance our work.
Dabo went on to highlight that the role of Child Fund as an international NGO is to strengthen government's effort to the creation of an environment conducive to the development of children. He expressed Child Fund Gambia office's determination to continue working with the international office in order to mobilize more materials for the Gambian children. The Child Fund country director also gave the assurance of his organization's commitment to the deprived, excluded, and vulnerable children. The vote of thanks was meanwhile delivered by Fatou Lamin Samate of the Health Ministry.
Previous speakers have already mentioned Child Fund have been greatly valuable to us over the years, and our partnership has been very, very fruitful. And this is just yet another example of that, and we know that there will be more to come by the grace of Allah. As you can see, this is just a sample of what has been donated, but we did receive a 40-foot container full of very essential medical items, including antihypertensives, painkillers, antibiotics, and the essential personal protective equipment to help us in our fight against the coronavirus, which is still very much amongst us. We also have wheelchairs and certain surgical items. So as you can see from the sample that is displayed here, this contribution is very, very useful to us. And for that, we are very, very grateful to Child Fund and partners.
Child Fund is an international NGO dedicated to improving children's lives, and its operation is premised on the mantra that young people are the future of the world. Awasani reporting for Star TV News.
And to sports now, following their scintillating 2-0 defeat over Sierra Leone in their first leg match for Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers, the Queen Scorpions will engage Sierra Leone in a return match day on Monday. Jacqueline Colley reports.
The Queen Scorpions will on Monday battle it out with Sierra Leone as their campaign for qualification to the Africa Women's Cup of Nations intensifies. They started the campaign on a strong footing early this week by triumphing over Sierra Leone in a game played at Antoinette Topman Stadium in Monrovia, as Sierra Leone fell short of meeting CAF stadium requirements. The Scorpions' 2-0 victory will no doubt give them that needed moral boost as they look forward to entertaining Sierra Queens on their own turf. There will be no spectators at the Independence Stadium on Monday due to COVID protocol. The Scorpions' supremacy over Sierra Queens in Liberia seems to have buoyed Coach Fatou Bomsow and the Queens themselves with optimism. They appear hopeful of eliminating the Sierra Leoneans to sail through to the second and final rounds of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers. Coach Sow said the results against Sierra Leone at senior level, coupled with the Gambia's under-20 girls' elimination of Burkina Faso in the Women's World Cup qualifiers, are strong signals that women football in the Gambia has reached another level of advancement. If the Queen Scorpions succeed in elbowing out Sierra Queens in the return leg on Monday, they will join their male counterparts in qualifying for Africa Cup of Nations for the first time. Jacqueline Colley for Star TV News.